Let's start with a big question. What if the timeline we've been taught, apes to early humans to us, is missing huge pieces? For years, scientists thought human evolution was a straight shot. One species leads to the next, like a relay race. But recent discoveries are tearing that idea apart. Take the Denisovans, for example. Until 2010, we didn't even know they existed. Just a finger bone and a few teeth from a Siberian cave told us about a whole human species. Their DNA pops up in modern people from Asia to Oceania, proving they were out there, thriving, maybe even building their own cultures. And that's just the start. What else is hiding in the ground, waiting to rewrite the story? Now let's talk Neanderthals, because they're not the brutes you might picture. These guys were built like tanks, stocky and strong, perfect for surviving Europe's brutal Ice Age winters. They hunted massive beasts like mammoths, made tools so sharp you'd wince, and, get this, buried their dead with care. Archaeologists have found Neanderthal graves with flowers, hinting at rituals, maybe even love for those they lost. How human is that? But here's where it gets wild. Neanderthals didn't just disappear. If you've got European or Asian ancestry, up to 2% of your DNA might be Neanderthal. So in a way, they're still with us, woven into our very genes. Doesn't that give you chills? But what if the story's even messier? Let's zoom to Africa, about 200,000 years ago, where Homo sapiens, us, first showed up. We weren't alone. Other human species, like Homo heidelbergensis, or even older groups, were already there, living their own lives. Did they fight, trade, share a campfire and a laugh? The evidence is murky, but one thing's clear. Our ancestors were part of a crowded world. Fossils from places like Morocco's Jebel Irhoud, dated to 300,000 years ago, show early sapiens with faces almost like ours, but brains still evolving. And here's the kicker. Some scientists think these early humans weren't the only ones experimenting with modern traits. What if Neanderthals or Denisovans were on a parallel path? Hold that thought, because this is where the timeline gets weird. In 2017, researchers found a skull in Greece, called Epidima 1, that's over 200,000 years old and looks eerily like a Homo sapiens. That's way too early for sapiens to be in Europe, according to the old timeline. So, what's going on? Were our ancestors wandering farther, earlier than we thought? Or is this skull something else entirely? A hybrid, maybe. The plot thickens when you look at sites like Denisova Cave in Siberia, where Neanderthals, Denisovans, and sapiens all left traces. One fossil, nicknamed Denny, was a teenage girl whose mum was a Neanderthal and dad was a Denisovan. Talk about a family reunion. If different human species were mixing like this, what else have we gotten wrong? Let's pause and picture it. You're a Homo sapiens 50,000 years ago standing on a foggy plain. The wind's howling and in the distance you spot another human, not quite like you. Maybe they're shorter, broader, with a heavier brow. Are they a threat, a friend, or something in between? The truth is, we don't know exactly how these species got along, but the clues point to a mix of competition and connection. Some scientists think sapiens outsmarted others with better tools and language, like a prehistoric tech advantage. Others say climate change tipped the scales, reshaping the Earth in ways only we could handle. But there's a darker idea floating around. Did we have a hand in their extinction? Now, I'm not saying our ancestors were villains. There's no clear evidence of ancient genocide. But as Homo sapiens spread, out of Africa, across Europe, into Asia, other human species started to fade. Neanderthals were gone by about 40,000 years ago, right as we moved into their turf. Coincidence? Maybe. Some studies suggest we outcompeted them for food or shelter, like a new team taking over the best spots on the field. Others point to disease. Imagine sapiens bringing germs that Neanderthals couldn't fight, like an ancient plague. And then there's interbreeding. Those hybrid kids, like Denny, carried sapiens genes forward, blending other species into our story. It's like we absorbed them, not erased them. So why does this matter? Because the old timeline, simple, clean, predictable, is crumbling. Every new fossil, every DNA test shows human evolution was more like a chaotic braid than a straight line. Take Homo floresiensis, the so-called hobbits of Indonesia. These tiny humans, barely 3 feet tall, were still around 50,000 years ago, possibly bumping into early sapiens. Or consider the red deer cave people in China, who might be another mystery species, or hybrids, living as recently as 14,000 years ago. If humans this different were still out there, what does that say about our place in the story? Here's the big what if. What if Homo sapiens weren't the chosen ones? Neanderthals had bigger brains in some ways, built for problem solving. Denisovans survived in harsh places we're still figuring out. What if they'd been the ones to dominate? Picture a world where Neanderthals invented writing, or Denisovans sailed the seas. It's not crazy. Our survival might have come down to luck, numbers, or a few clever tricks. Homo sapiens were like the scrappy underdogs who kept adapting, sewing clothes, building bigger groups, maybe even telling better stories to rally the tribe. But there's one more twist. DNA studies keep finding ghost populations, traces of unknown human species in our genes, with no fossils to match. In West Africa, some people carry DNA from a mystery group we haven't named. Who were they? What did they look like? Every discovery raises more questions, like we're peeling back layers of a story we thought we knew. And that's the real hidden truth. Our past is still out there, waiting to be found, in caves, in bones, in our very blood. So what's next? Will the next fossil shatter the timeline again? If that idea sparks your curiosity, hit that like button and tell me in the comments, which ancient human mystery do you want to explore next? Neanderthals, Denisovans, or those ghost populations we're just starting to uncover? If you're hooked on unraveling our past, subscribe and ring the bell so you don't miss what's coming. Trust me, the story of early humans is far from finished, and the next chapter might just blow your mind. See you in the next one.